Some of you may have seen the video I've just done where I talk about the true implications of a safety car deployment. I've labelled it part 1. We're going to explore that slightly further and expose the true reality of the Abu Dhabi fraud here. So when a safety car is deployed to deal with a safety incident, racing is neutralised and ultimately all competitors get to bunch up one behind the other. And we have to be in the correct race order before racing resumes again. So when there's no lapping taken place, naturally what will happen is second will bunch behind first, third bunch behind second, fourth bunch behind third, and so on and so forth. So we've got a snake of cars all in the correct race order, and all of the previously built up advantages are now wiped out. Racing was neutralised. We start afresh. When lapping has taken place in an event, the problem we have is that the safety car will pick up the lead car and all of the cars have to bunch up behind it regardless of the order that they're in, and they'll remain bunched behind it until the incident is cleared. It's only after the incident is cleared and the track declared safe again that these cars that have then been held back behind the leader then get released and then afforded the time to go and catch the back of the pack to recreate this restart condition of this snake of cars all in the correct race order with all of the previously built up advantages wiped out. We all are lied to. The media hype everything up and they lie. They completely disregard the purpose and lie to us with notions of, oh, what's going to happen now? Will we get these out of the way of the race between the leaders? Shall we go racing with them left in place? No, it's not allowed. It's there for a reason. There's specific regulations for this purpose. So, for example, here, as I described in the first video, Norris is in a race with Gasly, but because the safety car comes out in front of Hamilton, Norris will be held behind Hamilton. Gasly will disappear off around the track. So that affects all of the cars in and around that battle. Currently, this battle is for 7th and 8th. When Perez retires, as we'll go through, you'll realise it's for 6th and 7th. And all the places beyond that. Once you have battled 6th, you're then going to battle for 5th, haven't you? Maybe if you're the car behind Norris, you're Alonso. If Norris passes Gasly, then Alonso is going to want to try and pass Gasly. These are the dynamics that are there for every driver. So I'm going to take you through the lying commentary of Abu Dhabi 2021 as briefly as possible. The safety car regulations are designed specifically for the purpose of achieving the correct race order after the race has been intervened in with a safety car due to having to do with a safety incident. Let's have a listen to this.
At the start of this season, it's once again a great recovery because they felt they've been hampered coming into this season by those slight regulation changes.
Wow, that feels like a long time.
The blue dot of Latifi here has just become stationary at turn 14. So listen to the reaction.
Ago, doesn't it? But yes, Mercedes had an awful pre-season test, didn't they? We thought they would be in terrible trouble come the first race.
Oh no! Nicholas Latifi has crashed, and I think that is at turn 14, where we saw
safety car.
Okay, when the safety car is deployed by race control, all cars have to slow to a delta. So essentially, it's for the first almost 2 laps. They are going to be like a virtual safety car situation. They're all slowing down, but they don't catch each other. During that time, you are going to see some cars go into the pits to change tyres, but they're not actually going to be catching each other. The catching will only begin when the leader has been picked up by the safety car. Everybody is still travelling to the delta speed, but because the safety car speed is slower than the delta, one by one, each will then catch that safety car snake. So the snake will gradually form, but it doesn't form quickly. And like I say, essentially those cars can be travelling to their delta speed for up to 2 laps before they can exceed that to then catch up with the back of the safety car snake. During that time, the clerk of the course will be overseeing the recovery operation and only put the marshals on the track when he's satisfied that all these cars are slow enough. Ideally, what the safety car is actually creating is a window of opportunity where once that safety car snake has bunched, you've now got about 2 minutes of a clear track before any cars come round again. and that makes it a safer environment for marshals actually being on the track. Let them go by again, and then you've got another 2 minutes of working on the track. That's the purpose of the safety car, doing it this way, even though it destroyed all of the racing that's taken place before it. Anyway, listen to the commentary, because this is key. The key is the lies that the media are conditioning the world with to make us believe things to be a certain way. The simplicity of it is a car has crashed, we have to intervene. All the advantages have been wiped out, but there's a mandatory procedure now before we go racing again. Firstly, the cars will be slowing to a delta. That will then cause them all to bunch. Once the incident has been dealt with, which will likely take 3 laps plus 3, maybe 4 laps, the clerk of the course will declare the track safe, and once he's done so, he'll hand back to race control, and race control will complete the mandatory safety car procedure, which is this unlapping process. So once the track is safe, the message will be given to these competitors that now you will overtake the leader in the safety car and make every effort to make it around the track and catch the back of this safety car snake to achieve the restart condition, and the safety car will stay out on track for at least a further lap from the point where you are released for you to try to achieve that condition. The race director does have overriding discretion, whereby if they've not achieved that condition, he can keep the safety car on track for longer to ensure that they do. That is the extent of his overriding authority in that regard. He cannot cut that process short because it produces skewed outcomes that harm competitors' chances. And all the regulations are underpinned by the FIA International Sporting Code, which have a duty, a requirement to adhere to sporting fairness to all competitors. After all, this is supposed to be a sport. Anyway, listen to the commentary teams.
Raikkonen, a crash in practice. It is at turn 14, and yes, that will be a safety car, because marshals are going to need to recover that Williams and to work on it. And this now completely changes the context of this race if they can clear the Williams in time and we can have a couple of laps racing to the checkered flag.
They're suggesting a couple of laps racing. There were only 5.4 laps remaining for Lewis Hamilton at the point in time Latifi crashed. On average, 5.5 laps of racing are lost for such an incident. So the data would indicate that this is going to be a safety car finish. The commentators are suggesting a couple of racing laps. So incidents which the data says normally take 5.5 laps out of the race, they're suggesting it's going to only take 3.4 laps out of the race. That is not right.
There's bound to be a couple, and of course that's where Max Verstappen's much fresher tyres will fire up.
Max hasn't changed his tyres onto the new soft compound tyres yet.
And give him the confidence on any kind of restart. It depends how...
Any kind of restart. I've just told you what the restart condition is.
There will be, I'm pretty sure, on lap 52, obviously because of the slow pace with 5 to go.
The lap counter is now on lap 54. Lewis Hamilton's on his lap 54 now.
That they'll probably have a lap or two, as long as if they get a vehicle.
It's been reaffirmed now. Crofty said a couple of laps. Brundle said a couple of laps, bound to be a couple. They'll probably get a lap or two. The third time that notion has been affirmed.
On there and get that out of the way.
And coming into the pits, Max Verstappen. Hamilton stays out. Verstappen coming into the pits, and I would imagine there's a set of soft tyres waiting for him to go onto that Red Bull car. Yes, it is.
Icon box. Negative.
Right, so if
these messages that are chosen to play to the world, they are chosen by F1 TV. They're recordings because they're not live, and then they are chosen to play to the world. And what they do, they construct a narrative to make us all think about things a certain way. And so now what we're focusing on is the nature of which tyres the different drivers are on and how that may play out if there is a resumption of racing. But if there's no racing because we can't start racing again, the tyres are irrelevant. It's all about, can this operation be cleared up in time, and then the procedure carried out in time so that racing can happen. And they don't show us this. I can't show you because every time I try to upload any content from this, they will block it on copyright. But the images that they were showing us were not giving us a clear picture of what was happening with the clear up operation and the timescale of it. It was all obfuscating what was actually happening.
There is a restart. Verstappen now has fresh soft tyres. Lewis has heavily used hard compound tyres. They will let any lap runners through on the safety.
The wording, any lap runners through, that was the wording used in the steward's appeal by Red Bull.
Safety car restart, and
safety car restart, affirmed.
He will presumably end up, well, they had nothing to lose. Once again, Red Bull had nothing to lose here.
They have
the projection of Red Bull having nothing to lose. You'll hear that again.
Nothing to lose. Hamilton is a long way clear as Perez also pits, as we can see, and there's quite a few coming into the pits. Hamilton's a long way clear on the track, but I rather get the feeling by the time he comes around to the main straight, he's not going to be able to pit and stay ahead of Max Verstappen. That chance wasn't there or has gone by for Mercedes.
Verstappen tucked up behind Sebastian Vettel in the Aston Martin there.
But he won't be on the restart.
Won't be on the restart.
That's unbelievable.
Wow.
So look, we're on lap 54 of 58 here. They've got to clear that debris away, and the fire extinguishers have obviously gone off because the brakes, I'm sure, were getting very, very hot. But they've also got to let the lapped cars unlap themselves. Just at the back of my mind, I wonder if we're going to get any racing laps in this race. Wait and see. This is what happened to Nicholas Latifi. He was scrapping away with Mick Schumacher.
That's not the corner he crashed on, is it?
That was earlier on, I think, in the...
The lapped cars unlap themselves. Remember, they're lapped relative to Lewis Hamilton, but Lando Norris, relative to the car that was ahead of him on the road, Pierre Gasly, he wasn't lapped relative to Gasly. He was only 11.2 seconds behind Gasly. Gasly's now here. Gasly's going to gain further ground and end up at the end of the safety car snake, gaining a lap on Norris. So that's the purpose of this unlapping procedure. They don't make that obvious.
In the skirmish with Schumacher, they barged wheels, went off the track, would have picked up a bit of dust and debris on his tyres, and then the rear just lets go.
Probably dirty tyres from being off.
When you analyse that crash, Nicholas Latifi selects a lower gear and floors the throttle. Puts it on the rev limiter rather than build to revs as you come out of a corner. When you do that, you spin up your rear end and your rear end loses grip and you go back end first into the barriers. That's the way you would do it if you tried to crash the car like Nicholas Latifi crashed his car. When Formula One cars crash, what you will often see is you will see the driver see if they can keep that car driving and drive it back to the pits and see if they can keep going in a race. The engine was still running, anti-stall kicked in, and all Nicholas Latifi did was just switch it off and give a little chuckle.
Line there. Will we get any more racing laps or not? What jeopardy at the end of this Grand Prix, the end of this World Championship. Will there be any more racing laps? If there are, then Verstappen has got the tyres to really do something with them. Will they let the lap runners through?
Well, they always do let the lap runners through, and in between Hamilton and Verstappen, Norris, Alonso, Ocon, Leclerc and Vettel.
So this mandatory procedure, Brundle is asking whether they'll do it. Crofty confirms they always do, but they're not telling you why they have to do it.
Yes, but if they do that, it extends the safety car period.
Brundle suggesting if they do what they have to do, that results in an extension of this period. No, it doesn't. That is the period. It just is what it is. If somebody crashes and causes a problem, then we deal with the problem. And it takes as long as it takes. It's not an extension of the period. You can't cut this short. Racing has been neutralised for everybody. That impacts everybody. And in order to start racing again, the situation has to be reset for everybody. That's how it works.
But that's what they always do. Take the lap runners out of the way so they're not interfering in play.
And that's the lie that they feed the world. Take them out of the way so they're not interfering. Well, prior to Latifi crash, was Norris trying to catch Gasly? Yeah, he was. And when the race resumes, has Norris got a right to be trying to race Gasly? Yes, he has. So it's not about just removing these out of the way of Verstappen having a chance to catch and pass Hamilton. It's also to enable Norris to pass Gasly, challenge and pass Gasly. It's for everybody to be in that condition.
What's the situation behind me?
So the situation is Verstappen has pitted. He had a free pit stop. We would have lost track position to him. 4 laps remaining when you cross the line. So this field has to bunch and then they have to send.
Remember, this is the narrative they want to create. 4 laps remaining when you cross the line. Well, he crossed the line back then. So this message took place before then, and they've chosen that to play to the world now to create the notion of jeopardy and how this is impacting a particular competitor.
Lap cars through, so it may not.
Even the manner in which Bono was talking about this, they have to let lapped cars through. That doesn't give a clear indication to the viewer as to what is actually going on here. They have to let them through.
Not restart.
Is he right behind me?
He will be once they've sorted out all the order. This is going to take a while to sort out.
There might be one.
With new tyres.
Copy Lewis. We would have lost track position if we had pitted.
And that was the big key here.
The big key here is how long is the recovery operation taking? Because that is the thing that's going to determine whether or not we go racing. Okay, the big key isn't what tyres these cars have on, because if the race doesn't restart, it doesn't matter. Verstappen's gone and changed onto new tyres, but if he can't race on them, it's irrelevant. And they don't show you what is actually going on, because this is what they hide from the world. It's a narrative. What we've got is Nicholas Latifi's car there being craned away. It's still on the track. The crane is reversing up the road to an area off the track. We'll come back to that shortly. Back to track review.
For the second time, keeping Lewis Hamilton out whilst Max Verstappen pitted. Red Bull had nothing to lose.
Remember, Red Bull had nothing to lose.
Hamilton potentially losing track position, and in this case, if we don't go racing again because you can't overtake under the safety car, he would have lost the World Championship.
Rather strange way of putting that, because if we don't go racing again from this point on, Hamilton is a record-breaking 8-time world champion. That's the fact of it. Now, Crofties switch that around. If Hamilton had have pitted and lost position, and if we then don't go racing again, Hamilton would have lost the world championship. Well, the first part didn't happen. But you had to get in there, lost the world championship. Rather strange, isn't it?
Is there a vehicle pulling the Williams out of the way or not?
Yes, Martin, we've just checked there was.
Yet.
Can't see it at the moment.
But they can't see.
Ted, down to you.
I mean, shall we have a look, shall we? Let's have a look, because these commentators have at their disposal these other views. And if they don't, then you're doing the job as a commentator and you're only provided with a couple of screens and a couple of views and the inability to check out what you need to talk about. You're not being given the tools to do your job, are you?
Other people pitting: Yuki Tsunoda, Pierre Gasly, Daniel Ricciardo. We've had Lance Stroll as well into the pits. I'll give you those orders as they shake out. But yeah, it was just bad luck. I mean, you saw
filling the airwaves is, oh, who's been into the pits? Who's changed tyres? What's going on now? Okay, the only thing that matters is this race possible to restart?
Mercedes mechanics just hanging around outside the pits looking at whether they had the order to come in, but Hamilton was so close to the pit entrance that it does seem that the engineer's right there. Whatever they would have done, they would have lost track position.
The safety car's not going full gas down the straight.
Copy Lewis, understood.
His tyres are cooling. He needs more pace, more heat into those tyres.
This is awful for Lewis then with those hard compound, heavily used tyres. So.
And they they direct the narrative to it being about temperature, tyres and the condition of his tyres. Now what Hamilton's actually complaining about is the safety car appears to be going purposefully slow to ensure that there is one remaining lap. The slower he goes, the more time it gives for the recovery operation, and that means that there's a chance that there'll be a racing lap. I don't have a problem with that if that's how they use the safety car every time they use it. But the conventional way is the safety car is supposed to be lapping on close to its limit to enable those Formula One cars to still be going fast to supposedly keep temperature in the brakes and the tyres. Now, if it's not doing that, then that's something that it doesn't normally do. So what it's doing, it's behaving in an artificial manner to purposefully set up a last lap of excitement that it doesn't normally do. Wouldn't do it at any like that in any other stage in the race. Now you can see that the snake of cars is approaching turn 14. Let's just have a quick check on what's actually happening there, because they don't show us on the normal view. In fact, let's show us what they show you what they show us at this point.
There.
A replay of the crash. Okay, they don't show us the cars coming round there in the state of the recovery operation. And we'll just go to Latifi's car camera. So, car's still being recovered by the crane. So, back to tracker view.
A safety car there. And but will they let the lap runners through?
Will they perform the mandatory procedure now that Norris is here and Gasly's disappeared? Gasly's now at turn 7. Will they release Norris? You have to. It's mandatory. Brundle's asking the question whether they'll do it.
I think it's absolutely mandatory, but that's normally on a wet day that they don't.
Wet day doesn't change the regulation. This is a set of regulations. These are the set of instructions that accompany the deployment of the safety car. The moment you deploy the safety car, these are the step-by-step instructions that you must complete having deployed the safety car. If there's cars that have been lapped, this is what is caused, and therefore this is what you must do prior to the resumption of racing. Brundle saying, will they do that or won't they? And sometimes on a wet day they don't do that. It's all lies.
And if so, how long will they wait for those lap cars?
Well, the minimum requirement is they get the remainder of the lap that they are released on, and then they get a further lap of that safety car. If they're released halfway around a lap, then normally that 1.5 laps is sufficient for them to have fully caught the back of the pack. If it's very late in a lap that they're released, then just the additional lap of that safety car may not be enough. We've seen the race director use his overriding authority, his discretion, to then keep the safety car on track for an additional lap to enable those released cars the chance of fully catching the back of the pack. Michael Massey did that on 4 occasions at Brazil 2019, Spain 2019, Sakir 2020, Eiffel 2020. There's your evidence of him actually doing it.
To get out of the way. If they wait for them to catch the pack up, which they don't have to do, then I don't think we'll get a racing lap. If they let them through, we could get one racing lap.
If they let them through, we could get one racing lap. Again, think of the wording here and what actually happens. That wording is not a reflection of the requirement of the regulation.
3 laps to go. Nicholas Latifi is seemingly okay.
3 laps to go, which means this is lap 56. So 56, 57, 58. This is the key lap because those lapped cars have to be released on this lap. That is key because they're released on lap 56, then the safety car will return to the pits at the end of the following lap. So the safety car returns to the pits at the end of lap 57, and that is the only way that lap 58 can be a racing lap. So this lap, lap 56, that incident has to be cleared up and the order has to be given to these lapped cars to overtake the leader in the safety car. That has to happen this lap. Now, what's happening at Nicholas Latifi? Because again, they don't show us. What they show us on the global feed once it loads up, is the drama of the Red Bull pit, where Sergio Perez is retiring the car box. Really, that hands a constructor's prize, guarantees it to Mercedes. Potentially, Red Bull was still in the game on that. Had Hamilton have retired during that safety car period, that would have left Red Bull with a 1-2. By removing one of those drivers, they were a 28-point deficit. The maximum they would get by Max winning with fastest lap is 26 points. Mercedes will be constructors' title champions. So by removing Perez out of that race, that guaranteed that for Mercedes. At Latifi's incident, we're still moving. Back to track of view.
Around about 90 miles an hour. But he would have taken a whack, and it's good to see that he's okay. Sergio Perez coming into the pits again.
So Max,
I think they're retiring the car here. Perez into the pits for the 4th time. I didn't understand why, but I think they are retiring the car, and yes, they're not going to be working on it, and that is the end of Sergio Perez's Abu Dhabi Grand Prix.
Checo, we need to retire the car. We need to retire the car. Box.
And for the
Really? Yeah, box.
And
it's strange that a driver who's driving doesn't feel that there's a problem with his car, and he's told he's got to retire it, and he's surprised by that.
lapped cars will not be allowed to overtake.
it's not mandatory in the regulation.
It absolutely is mandatory in the regulation, and there's a reason why they've announced this now, and they shouldn't be announcing this, because during any safety car period, you don't announce this. All you do, we've deployed the safety car, you'll keep lapping until you hear otherwise. Once it's safe, you'll then get the instruction for the next procedural step. The notion of lapped cars will not be allowed to overtake. It's not in the regulations. It's not an official message. Any official message is overtaking will not be permitted. That is mutually understood by everybody. Everybody understands overtaking is not permitted. Everybody understands that. I'm not allowed to overtake. Lapped cars will not be allowed to overtake. What does that mean? Does that mean if you're not lapped, you are allowed to overtake? Those that are lapped, are they allowed to overtake each other but not allowed to overtake anybody else? It's an ambiguous message, and therefore it forms no part of any regulation. But meanwhile, over at turn 14, we've got off the track now. And the reason that lapped cars will not be allowed to overtake is there's come back there. Sorry, we'll go back to Latifi. It came out of it before I wanted to. You can see here, there's marshals on the track. Just above this right-hand tyre of his car, there's orange overall clad workers on the track sweeping up debris on the track. Hence, you cannot declare the track safe because it isn't. Hence, you can't give the order to begin the unlapping procedure. And we'll continue on with track of view. That state of these marshals clearing up, sweeping away debris continues on.
Will be constructors' champions at the end of this race as it stands at the moment, assuming that Hamilton and Bottas finish this race.
No, they are. The moment Perez retired, that guaranteed Mercedes the championship. And the $177 million. Thanks for that, Toto. Cheers, Christian. We fulfilled our part of the bargain.
Drivers' Championship, though, is very much up for grabs. The lapped cars won't be allowed to overtake, which means
the track isn't safe. The moment the clerk of the course declares it safe, the race director has got to perform the mandatory operation of releasing the cars that qualify to be released and affording them the opportunity of making it around the track and catching up with the safety car snake, wiping out all the previously built up advantage in the same way that other drivers have been impacted by the same set of circumstances.
That there are plenty of cars in between Hamilton and Verstappen for Verstappen to fight his way through. Norris, Alonso, and also Ocon and Leclerc and Sebastian Vettel.
None of which are for position of.
Martin Brundle saying the cars just listed, none of them are for position. Well, At the moment, again, we've got to discard Perez. He's retired now, which elevates all these up a position. So none of these are position. We've got 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th. They are for those positions, Martin. And not only for those positions, 7th place Norris would like to then be able to challenge 6th place Gasly. And he can't, because Gasly here is now at the back of the safety car, Snake, almost a lap ahead of Norris.
Of course, they're obliged to get out of the way, but Lewis will be long down the road.
That I suppose is the compromise that
Race control are making a compromise. Do you hear that in any other sport? Do you hear any other sport say, oh, all the commentators say, oh, this is where the referee is making a compromise? No, the referee officiates that sport in accordance with the rules and regulations of that sport. You never hear commentary saying, oh, I suppose this is where the referee is compromising here. There is no compromise.
have made here by giving the best possible chance for racing to the finish rather than finishing behind the...
Giving who the best possible chance of racing to the finish? You haven't given Norris the best chance of racing Gasly to the finish, have you?
The safety car, they've decided the lap cars will stay where they are.
And the regulations will never be applied to prevent sporting competition between competitors. That's why they're written the way that they are. And remember I told you that F1 TV select messages to create a narrative. This message actually took place when Max Verstappen was driving between turn 5 and turn 6. It took about 20 seconds. This has now been edited down to 12 seconds by removing the pauses, and they've chosen this to play to the world to create a narrative. Create how people feel.
Cancel that. Lap cars will not be allowed to overtake.
Yeah, of course. Typical decision.
It's classic.
I'm not surprised.
Israel Verstappen, once again the victim of the situation.
I'll try and look at this objectively. We should get one lap of racing here.
All lies. We've got procedures prior to being able to go racing. We have to meet the restart condition.
If we allowed the lap cars to overtake, we'd have no laps of racing.
Let me be objective here, said Crofty. If we let them through, well, we're still on lap 56. If you let them through on lap 56, you might just about be okay. Can we let them through now? Oh, no, because when they show us here that most people don't pick up on, they're the marshals still jumping over the barriers. It's still not in a situation where the clerk of the course can get onto the radio and to race control and say, right, the track has been checked, the barriers have been checked, I'm happy with the track surface, my marshals are now clear of the track is safe. You can now carry out your mandatory procedure, the next step of this safety car deployment procedure. And here are the cars coming around there. This is Daniel Ricciardo, followed by the two blue cars, which are the Alpines, followed by the Ferrari of Charles Leclerc, followed by the Aston Martin of Sebastian Vettel. That's Max Verstappen there at the back. Back to track of view.
Flag. So what do Red Bull want?
What do Red Bull want, everybody?
Verstappen and Gianpiero Lambiase as race engineer. Do they want the chance, or do they want to finish behind the safety car with no overtaking? Because I think that is...
Do Red Bull want the chance, or do Red Bull want to finish behind the safety car? Is this what you get in any other sporting commentary? I suppose the referee is making a compromise, and does the competitor that's going to lose want that chance, or do they not? Let's be objective about this. Is that objectivity? No, but look at what the impression it's given people. How does it make people believe things are possible? How does it make people feel? The message is given. Red Bull are the victims. They're being given a slight chance. Is that okay? I'm being objective here. All lies, all narrative. Simple. This entire thing was a contrivance involving the FIA, all competitors, media. Media sold it to everybody by conditioning everybody to believe that what was possible, because it's not.
The decision that has come from race control. And personally, this is the decision that gives them the best chance if they
Personally, this gives Red Bull the best chance if Red Bull want that chance.
want it.
Yeah, I mean the regulation, as I said, they may allow the lap cars through. It's not.
No. Once the condition is met of the track being declared safe, then it's a requirement that the lapped cars that are eligible to be released are released and afforded a further lap of that track with which to attempt to catch the safety car snake. That's a mandatory requirement. It's not optional. You fail to do that, you produce skewed outcomes. That is in breach of the purpose. That is in breach of the FIA International Sporting Code. It is very simple.
Mandatory, to point it out, but as you point out, Crofty, there'd be no racing laps if they let the lap cars through, because
they play the good cop, bad cop act, don't they? We are all trying to reason. Yes, what you're saying might be true, but if that happens, then this happens, so maybe it's this way. It's all gaslighting.
I think the safety car will come in at the end of this lap, and there will be one racing lap.
So Martin Brundle is now saying that he believes they're not going to carry out the mandatory procedure, what is described as not being mandatory, and he believes that the safety car is going to come in and they will have a lap of racing. That's not been done. That hasn't been done since this set of regulations was reintroduced for the beginning of the 2012 season. Martin Brundle has commentated on the majority, if not all, of those events in that period of time, 199 Grand Prix. He knows what they are. He lies at some of them to hype the crowd up. He lies. He gives his opinion about not liking it, but he knows, and he knows the purpose. And in some Grand Prix, he actually states it. But others, he lies about it, saying will they do it and will they not? That's what they do.
They'll all get blue flags, I would imagine.
And Crofty embellishing the lie with additional information to make things sound authentic.
Christian and Michael.
Yes, go.
Creating the narrative. Interjection. So again, this is a pre-recorded message. It's not live. It took place. F1 TV has chosen to play this to the world, to create a narrative, to create the feeling inside of people.
Go ahead, Christian.
Yeah, why aren't we getting these lap cars out of the way?
Just give me, because Christian, just give me a second. Okay, my big one is to get this incident clear.
You only need one racing lap.
Okay, so what seed does that sow? Martin Brundle has told you. They told you at the beginning there's bound to be a couple. Then they said, will there be any? Will they do the mandatory procedure? Will they not do the mandatory procedure? They don't tell you it's mandatory, they tell you it's not mandatory, but it is mandatory. Martin Brundle tells you that he thinks they're going to bring the safety car in at the end of this lap and there will be one racing lap. They've affirmed that by playing the message, Christian Horner, saying we only need one racing lap. What are the simple rules and regulations of the sport? Crofty's saying, oh, well, he thinks the race control's making a compromise. And that's the best thing if Red Bull want the opportunity. What do they want?
Well, I assume Christian's talking about then, getting the lap cars out of the way, not clearing the incidents away.
Yeah, I mean, all of the cars in front of Max will get blue flags and are duty bound to get out of the way, but they're all in a reasonable fight themselves, aren't they?
Well, so here.
I thought you said earlier, Martin, that none of them were for position. But they're in a reasonable fight for themselves, but Norris here, now showing in 7th, is not in a reasonable fight with 6th, is he? Because you've left him now almost a lap behind 6th place Gasly. When previously, prior to Latifi crashing, Norris was actually closer to Gasly than Verstappen was to Hamilton. Norris was only 11.2 seconds behind Gasly. Verstappen was approximately 11.9 to 12 seconds behind Hamilton. So you've wrecked Norris's chances. That's what the deployment of the safety car does. It causes that skew. Hence, there are a set of regulations that need to be carried out to ensure that that doesn't happen. They're not optional. Every time you've seen a safety car prior to this, since these regulations were introduced at the beginning of the 2012 season, and every single time since, you've seen the regulations carried out. They've tried to lie to say that, oh, they've changed, they've had to clear something up, it was all confusing, nobody knew, it's only Abu Dhabi where people got a bit confused over it. All a lie. It was an entire contrivance.
Here we go. Normally, you know, you'd
So here we go, says Crofty.
see the race leader backing up the pack a little bit when the safety car goes. I would imagine on this occasion, if we do get a lap, Martin, Hamilton will want to be disappearing off into the distance as fast as he can.
Yeah, I don't see any way Verstappen can do anything with that. But indeed, is the safety car coming in this lap? We think it should do, could do. Is there any more debris to clear?
The mandatory regulations have not been carried out yet. Brundle affirms we think it should come in. It could do. And then he asks, is there any debris to clear up? Let's just repeat that.
Yeah, I don't see any way Verstappen can do anything with that. But indeed, is the safety car coming in this lap? We think it should do, could.
They think the safety car should come in this lap, which would indicate everything's now safe.
Is there any more debris to clear up?
And then he asks the question, is there any more debris to clear up? That's unsafe. You think you're going to withdraw the safety car because things have been made safe. You've not carried out the mandatory procedures, by the way. But now he's gaslighting the situation, disorientating the viewer, going, what's going on there? Have they cleared it up yet? It's all part of disorientating the audience. So that, and everything they showed us on the global feed, the images they showed was all about disorientation. They just never showed us a clear picture of this is the site of the crash, this is what is going on, this is the number of laps that are ticking down. Oh, we're now on lap 57. Even if those lapped cars are released on this lap, which they have to be released, the safety car will return to the pits at the end of the following lap. Now, the following lap is lap 58, the final lap of the race. When the safety car returns to the pits at the end of it, it means it's a safety car finish. It means that Lewis Hamilton is now, providing he stays on the track, a record-breaking 8-time world champion, which is what you should have heard from the beginning of this lap. You never heard it, did you? The moment they started this lap, which is now lap 57, that is what you should have heard. You should have heard those commentators say, we are now on lap 57. It wasn't possible to release the lapped cars on lap 56. We saw the marshals on track at turn 14. They hadn't cleared the incident by then. We're now on to lap 57. Even if they do release those lapped cars this lap, it's almost, well, it's futile because it's still going to be a safety car finish. Because their safety car will return to the pits at the end of the following lap. The following lap to 57 is 58. That's a safety car finish. Hamilton is a world champion, a record-breaking 8-time world champion, a record equaling 5 consecutive time champion, equaling that record of Schumacher. We got none of that. This is a contrivance.
But we're halfway round already.
Race control are now saying lapped cars to overtake the safety car. So Norris and Alonso and Ocon and Leclerc and Vettel to
and it's
overtake
ending.
it.
And it's ending. Wow.
So, you know, I told you these messages that they have recorded, they cue them up and then they play them to the audience. Martin Brundle is saying, and it's ending, wow. And queued up, they had Toto there, right on cue. Michael, just check.
To overtake the safety car. So Norris and Alonso and Ocon and Leclerc and Vettel to
and
overtake
it's ending.
it.
And it's ending. Wow.
So they have to play it like this. They do know that some people will know this wrong. So they have to acknowledge, oh, some people think this is wrong. They have to do it that way. And that's what they do. Toto's going to think this is wrong. So there's Toto going, Michael. Do they have, and let's listen to what Toto then says. Does Toto explain the regulations? and the reason why you have to do the unlapping procedure.
So there's confusion, but
it's just confusing, everybody.
Safety car is coming in at the end of this lap, so those back markers allowed to overtake the safety car.
They're not back markers, that's 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, all World Championship scoring points, and 11th wanting to perhaps challenge for a top 10 finish and get World Championship points.
And that has now left Lewis Hamilton and Max Verstappen.
Michael, this isn't right.
Michael, this isn't right, says Toto.
It has left Lewis Hamilton and Max Verstappen side by side. Hamilton will be ahead. Verstappen
setting up the exciting grandstand finish in the shootout. Now, if we ride on board with Lando Norris here, let's have a look. In fact, I do believe he is told that he's racing from the line. Let's see if we can get the audio.
So this safety car is ending. The
safety car's ending.
Safety car is in this lap.
Okay, safety car's in this lap. Can we see the yellow lights flashing on the light boards around the track there? There's one of them. These drivers are told that they're racing from the line, by the way.
Strap 5, please. Strap 5.
Still yellow lights. Still yellow lights. Now, you all know the rules of Formula 1. When you're encountering yellows, what have you got to do? You've got to lift and show that you're ready to stop your car should you need to. Still yellow. Still yellow. You see the flashing light over here. And in the distance, flashing. Look at this light here, flashing yellow. And it goes off there. So it's at this location on the approach to turn 5 that it's only then, this is the 100-meter board out from turn 5. It's only then that the track is no longer yellow. These cars have been told that they're racing. These cars were told that they were racing from the line. Driving at full speed, racing speed, not taking the appropriate measures under yellows. Nobody's ever revealed that this is the situation. That was illegal. So, there they are. That's the location. The lights have just gone out. The track was yellow up until that point, and these 5 cars were racing on it.
Hamilton has the advantage. Verstappen has the faster, fresher tyres, and we have got 3.2 miles of race.
And Norris and all other cars behind him have left this amount of distance, all this distance behind Gasly. No chance whatsoever of being able to contest with him. You've got first and second, and in between second and third, you've got the cars of Daniel Ricciardo and Lance Stroll blocking off third place from challenging those top 2 competitors. There's many other aspects of this, the fraudulent steward's appeal, the fraudulent FIA report into it, every fraudulent media report that's never been able to reveal any of this information that's in this video. The entire thing was a contrivance. All of the teams impacted in different ways, doing illegal things, having their race chances impacted in an illegal manner. Not a single one of them put in a protest apart from Mercedes, who rocked up with that protest without their team principal Toto Wolff, but with a barrister to give you the illusion that if an expert can't do anything about this, there's nothing we can do. The entire thing was a fraud. The entire thing was a contrivance. Now, if this is the first time that you've been made aware and you've actually seen this for what it actually is, please share my videos. Okay, please share this. This is not going to spread organically on YouTube. The channel is suppressed due to the fact that it's exposing a global sporting fraud, the biggest global sporting fraud of our time. And the implications of that is that the perpetrators, when they are taken to court, are going to lose billions. This goes well into the multiple billions of pounds. Billions. and hence they will lobby to suppress the narrative. And ultimately, the ownership structure of everything is the billionaires that own all of the companies and have aligned interests and aligned agendas. They also own all of the media and are part of the linked network of ownership whereby the billionaire-owned entities have the controlling influence over the media and of the social medias. So therefore, they restrict the supply of information. You've never heard this on mainstream. You're now hearing it on social media, but the algorithm will still suppress the content because of the impact that it's going to have. So please take responsibility and share it. That's the only way that other people are actually going to see what really happened at Abu Dhabi 2021. Many people will know that it wasn't right. Many people will know this notion that what took place wasn't in accordance with the rules. But the narrative given is it was just a human error. It's not just a human error. Latifi crashed on purpose. All of the commentary teams lied. Not a single one exposes what the rules are, why they are, because the moment you do that, you see things for how they really are. The steward's appeal was entirely fraudulent. The FIA report into it was entirely fraudulent. They don't identify the true dynamics of the situation. No media has broken this down. No media has entered into the notion of we've had Crashgate already where a car crashed on purpose to enable their teammate to win a race. Has a crash occurred on purpose here for the deployment of a safety car which created this drama? This created this last lap shootout where the World Championship went down to the last Grand Prix of the season, the last lap of the last Grand Prix of the season, which ultimately has caused a popularity explosion in the sport, netting the sport and each of those teams billions. This entire thing was a sporting fraud, a sporting contrivance, and they were all complicit with it and they played their roles. So please share it. Thank you for your time, and if you've not already, subscribe to the channel because there's loads of videos here exposing it. There's some videos on my channel where I talk about Grand Prix that are happening. I have very little interest in that because I realise it being the show that it is. But it's a show that this injustice is not going to go away. Those of you that follow the sport of Formula One, you see week in, week out, there are atrocious decisions made. Stewarding decisions that are not consistent, benefiting certain drivers, impacting other drivers. That is because this is a contrivance. While those perpetrators are still in charge of this show, you are not going to see a clean sport. Perpetrators of such nature do not correct themselves. They just continue to exploit. That is what happens. Until they're brought to justice, you're not going to see a change in the sport that you love. It's a contrivance and it needs taken down. So please start waking other people up and showing them this content. Like I say, if you want, subscribe to the channel and you will see the other videos I've already made. But I'm going to continue putting these out there in the hope that some of them finally break through the algorithm and are exposed to a greater audience. But please help me do that. Thank you for your time.